Hey there, and welcome to the Career Groove YouTube channel where you can find all kinds of advice and tips on how to find your authentic career groove. Today's video I'm going to do is about career fairs. As an HR professional, I get a lot of questions about career fairs. Are they worth the time? How to best approach them? And also, I recently attended a career fair for emancipated foster youth, which was a fantastic event, but I did see that there's a need to put some information out there and kind of just educate young people on some career fair etiquette and offer some tips on how to maximize their time at a career fair and really make it work for them. So that's what today's video is about. Hopefully you can get some tips and tricks that will work for you. We'd be happy to hear from you. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments. Let's keep it positive. This is all about sharing information, empowering people. Okay, so our first tip for maximizing your time at a career fair, making it work for you, is to, first of all, know what you want and know what you can do, right? Know what you want and know what you can do. So prior to going to career fair, have a really clear idea or a pretty clear idea of what sort of careers you're looking for. If you're a student just coming out of school, you've just graduated, or you're a high school student entering a college and maybe you're looking for some internships or whatever the case may be, have an idea of what you're looking for, and even better, be clear about what you can do and be able to articulate that. So what I mean by that, for people who are maybe a little bit less experienced, don't have a whole lot of professional experience, you want to take an inventory of what you're naturally good at, what your natural talents are. Are you good with people? Are you a natural leader? What are your natural abilities? Marry that up with any tangible experience that you've learned along the way. Any work experience that you've had. You know Excel. Are there other computer software programs that you're familiar with? Or if you're a student, what sort of skills have you gained in education, research, all of that good stuff? Get all that information, marry it up with your natural abilities, and use it to determine what avenue you want to go down next, right? So before you go into a career fair, be able to articulate to yourself and to recruiters what you're looking for and what you can do. Okay? Tip number 2 is do your research. And this is actually probably the best tip that I can give you. And I'm surprised sometimes at how many people I encounter as an HR professional at career fairs who don't seem to have taken this step. But this is a major win for you if you're attending a career fair. So most organizations that are hosting career fairs will put online for you in advance the companies that are going to be attending. So this is key for you. Get online, find out who's going to be at this career fair and who you, as a career seeker, career shopper, who you want to talk to. And then you want to take it a step further. Once you know who's going to be there, some of the companies you may be familiar with, some you may not be familiar with. Get online, get on those companies' websites and learn a little bit more. So what you're looking for is not just what career opportunities they have available, but that's obviously important information, right? So find out what jobs that they have available, but also you want to look at that company's mission statement and that vision statement. Do your personal mission statement and vision statements align with the companies? Is this a good cultural fit for you? Is this a good place for you to work? And a lot of indicators will be, like I said, the mission and vision statements, sort of their branding. You can get a really good feel if this is more of a really professional environment, or if this is more of a blue collar environment. Is this more of an artsy, laid back environment? All of that information is going to be indicated to you on that company's website. So do yourself a favor, get online, research these companies, and then take it a step further. There's this awesome website called Glassdoor. If you're not familiar, this is like a Yelp for companies. And there is invaluable information on this website. Get on glassdoor.com, and what it is they do post jobs there. So it is a job board, but even better than that, it's also an opportunity for people who work at that company currently or who have worked there in the past, and even people who have gone through the interview process with that particular company. They're all able to leave reviews online for you to see. So you can hear from the horse's mouth what it's like to work for that company from people who work there. You can hear from people who've actually gone through the interview process, what to expect during that process. Were there any assessments that they had to take? What sort of interview processes were in place? Was it a panel interview? Sometimes people will even post some of the questions that they've been asked in the interview process. So check out glassdoor.com. See if there's any information about the companies that you have an interest in, okay? Do your research. Number 3, the third tip is to plan your attack. So what I mean by that is, now that you know what companies are going to be there, you want to plan your attack once you get to the job fair. So you want to map out your A-list companies, the companies you really have an interest in talking to. You feel like you'd be a good fit for that company. Whatever their mission statement is aligns with your personal values. That's your A-list. Then you have your B-list companies, the companies who look sort of good, you kind of want a little bit more information. Then you have your C-list companies. You've checked them out. There's nothing about that industry or that company that interests you, but they're going to be there, right? Map out your A-list, your B-list, and your C-list. And this is important because it's a strategy. When you get to the career fair, talk to your C-list employers first, right? That's going to give you an opportunity to work out any kind of nervous energy, any kind of kinks in your elevator pitch, in your personal spiel. All of that stuff you can kind of knock out before you get in front of your A-list recruiters. Okay, that's a great tip. So talk to your C-list or your B-list recruiters before stepping in front of your A-list, and that way when you get in front of your A-list recruiters, you'll be at your A game. Tip number 4, have an elevator pitch. I mentioned that in tip number 3, and you may already know what that is, but for those who don't, elevator pitch is kind of a buzzword that's been floating around for a while in the professional industry. And what that is a very concise and to the point statement about who you are, what you can do, and what you're looking for. No more than 2 sentences, and it's a statement that you can use when you approach a recruiter at a job fair, or if you happen to run into a recruiter or a CEO of a company or a hiring manager on the elevator. It's a very brief way of saying, hi, I'm candidate Joe Brown. I've got an education in this, I've got experience in this, and I'm looking for an opportunity such as this. And fill in those blanks. That's your elevator pitch. Have one prepared, practice it, and bring it with you to a career fair. That's going to be really helpful when talking with recruiters, and that way recruiters have a clear idea of who you are, a pretty good idea of who you are, and are able to articulate not only opportunities that are available now, but also opportunities that are available coming down the pipeline. So have that elevator pitch. Tip number 5 is update your resume. Update your resume. This seems like a no-brainer, but you would be surprised how many people, and you might even be guilty, how many people attend career fairs and don't have resumes, or they do have a resume but they're not updated, and they'll tell the recruiter, yeah, this is my resume, but it, I also have I just got my degree and that's not on there yet. Update your resume. Here's why. In 2017, a lot of recruiters, savvy recruiters, are coming to career fairs with resume parsing apps on their phones and their smart devices. So that means when a recruiter is talking to 100 people, they don't necessarily want to take all those resumes with them, right? It's 2017 now. So what they can do is take a picture of your resume, and not all recruiters will have this, but a lot of them will, and you want to be ready. We're able to take a picture of a resume, and all of that information is going to be parsed and is now searchable in a resume database. So all of your skills, all of your experience, your education, your certifications, all of those things are going to now be searchable for a recruiter. So if you don't have a resume, you're really going to be at a disadvantage. If I'm able to take a picture of your resume, I've talked to 100 people, may or may not necessarily really remember the conversation that we've had, but if I've got a picture of your resume, when I get to my office, if I want to search a project management certification, or I want to search a degree in communication, or I want to search for GIS experience, I can go into my database and search those things. And if you've handed me your resume at a career fair, you're now searchable. So bring a resume to a career fair, please, and make sure it's updated. Okay? Tip number 6, dress appropriately. So again, this kind of seems like a no-brainer. You may feel like this doesn't really need to be on the list, it should go without saying, but again, you'd be surprised. Okay? So at a career fair, I see more times than I've seen people attending them just really casually. It's a mistake. Some companies are there to interview on the spot. Not all, but some. So you want to make sure when you come to a career fair that you're bringing your A game. You want to look professional. First impressions matter. So in terms of a career fair appropriate attire, business casual at the minimum. Business attire is appropriate, but again, career fairs can be long. You're walking around. You do want to be comfortable, and recruiters understand that. Hiring managers understand that. So business casual, I think, is definitely appropriate. Business is okay, and sometimes, depending on the industry, there are some professional industries where it's really industry focused, and business attire is going to be necessary. But again, doing your research is going to indicate that to you, right? So you've done your research, you know it's not a super professional industry environment. Business casual is appropriate. And if you're not familiar with what that is, if you don't know the difference between business casual and business, I encourage you to go ahead and Google that right now. Maybe we'll do a video on that in the future at a different date. But business casual at the minimum at a career fair. Do not come casually dressed. I do not recommend jeans at a career fair. I do not recommend sneakers at a career fair. I know that they're comfortable. I know that you're going to be planning to walk around for an hour or more and talking to a ton of people, and I get it. You want to be comfortable, but you want to make a good impression. You want to be professional. Trust me, business casual at a career fair at a minimum. And again, if you're not familiar with what those differences are, I implore you, go ahead and Google that right now. Okay, moving on. Tip number 7. Get there early. Get there as early as you can. Now, I do realize that most career fairs are held Monday through Friday during what is work hours for most people or school hours for most people. So I get it. Sometimes your schedule is not going to allow you to be there when the doors open, and that's okay. Okay, but there are benefits. So getting into a career fair early provides you a couple of benefits. And the first one is, number 1, you're probably going to have less crowds. Later on in the afternoon is where the crowds get really, really thick, and lines start forming at some of the more popular companies. There's always going to be 1 or 2 companies that everybody there wants to speak with, right? So getting there early kind of helps you beat the crowd. So when you get in front of a recruiter, you don't feel pressure. There's not a line of people behind you waiting for you to just hurry up and get out of the way so that they can come and talk to the recruiter. So getting there early is likely going to allow you some time to really engage with the recruiter. It's going to give you some time to ask all the questions that you want to ask, that you've prepared for based on your research on the company and their mission statement and all of that good stuff. And it's going to give an opportunity for a recruiter to ask you any questions. And it's really just going to give you a chance to build some rapport and be memorable to the recruiter. So this is about maximizing your time and making the job fair work for you. Getting there early is really going to help you do that. Okay, so that's the first reason why you want to get there early. The second reason is recruiters, hiring managers, HR professionals, whoever is there representing an employer, they're human. Okay, and they should remain professional at all times, under all circumstances, and I am in no way trying to indicate otherwise. A recruiter or HR professional, they should always be just that, a professional. However, recruiters are human, HR managers are human, hiring managers are human, and people get tired. Career fairs can be exhausting, not just for the job seekers. And job seekers are walking around, career seekers are walking around, talking to a lot of people, shaking hands, and it can be exhausting for them, but it can also be exhausting for recruiters. It really can be. So getting there early, there's something to be said for that. When a recruiter is fresh, they haven't already shaken 100 hands, they're not tired, and they're able to really engage with you kind of with a fresh mind. Okay, so there's definitely a benefit to that. Again, sometimes your schedule just won't allow that. That's perfectly fine, but there is something to be said by attending a career fair as early as you can. All right, and our last tip, number 8, is get cards from the recruiters that you have an interest in speaking with and follow up. So collect the cards from your A-list recruiters or your B-list recruiters that after you spoke to them, they've now moved up the list because you've learned a little bit more about them. Get those cards from the recruiters that you really do have an interest in talking to, again, from the companies that you really have an interest in working for. When you get the cards, write a quick note on the back because you may be talking to a lot of different employers and it may be tough to kind of remember some things. So after you engage with the recruiter, take a second to write on the back of the card. Take a second to write on the back of the card any talking points that you can remember that you spoke about? Was there a specific position that you guys spoke about? Was there a sporting team that you guys kind of bonded over? Whatever your conversation revolved around, just jot down a couple notes about that on the card so that when you follow up, you can reference that. So moving into following up, 24 to 48 hours after the career fair, it's completely appropriate to send an email to the recruiter to say, thank you for taking the time to speak with me. Attach your resume. You and I spoke at the career fair at such and such location. We spoke about such and such position, and I look forward to speaking with you again in the future. Attach your resume, and that's it. That's perfectly appropriate. You don't need to call the recruiters. You don't need to call them. Go ahead and send an email 24 to 48 hours after. You don't want to wait too long. You don't want to be forgotten. And sometimes recruiters may have multiple hiring events in a week, right? And you want to be remembered. So make sure you do that within 24 to 48 hours. And those are 8 ways to maximize your time and have a career fair work for you. So again, I hope that there was some information here that was helpful for you, that could spark something for you in helping you find your career groove. If you have any additional questions or any comments, please leave them down below in the comment section. Again, let's keep it positive. This is just about empowering people and sharing information. We'd love to hear from you if it's all right. So go ahead. Leave a comment, ask any questions. We'll try to get back with you as soon as we can. And go ahead and click subscribe because we're going to be giving a lot of information that I'm sure you can find useful, okay? Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon.